Well, I don't know if you remember, Marta, but last week in the show, I brought to your attention a new political party that is running for Senate currently. We said move over AUP. There's a new kid on the block, and that is AVP, the Australian... Values, sorry, just had a mental blank. Australian Values Party. And he joins us now, Heston Russell, the man who's heading it up, AVP. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Margot and Marty.
Well, Heston, we're always pushing here, get rid of the ALP. We hate the Liberal Party. We're fans of smaller groups, which is why this originally got brought up. Australian Values Party. I want people to go and vote independent or for the smaller party so we can make a difference. What's your difference?
Well, thanks for having me on.
Cheers, mate.
You. And a lot more was said when you guys went to air, and I probably prefer to address that first.
Yeah.
Because that's a big issue we have in the moment is with all these political parties. Everyone's looking at what's next, what's the next policy, but there's stuff all accountability going around. And Margot, you said a hell of a lot more talking about my OnlyFans, both of you even referring me to Putin. And I'm a 16-year veteran. I had an OnlyFans account 2 years ago. There's a whole saga of a story that needs to go with that. And you didn't even be smart enough to include the words alleged by saying when I kept money from fundraising.
Well, I read it.
It's really caused a lot of issues overnight. And I'm pretty unimpressed by that responsibility and opportunity you have. You know, you want to come on here and say how you're looking forward to supporting minor parties. And I don't expect support. I at least expect just a balanced conversation.
Let's address both of those things. The Putin comment was, I don't think, related to character assassination. That was about you must
not
have not had a shirt on. And what's
how do
that
you
mean?
think how do you think that's appropriate given what's going on in the world and relating my veteran career and profile to that? Let's be serious.
I don't know your veteran career.
I made mention, yes, Heston, I'll take accountability for my comments. I made mention that you are a former major and commander of an Afghanistan platoon and that you were running for office and that it was a new party to be excited about. I talked about your looks. I said that you were quite handsome and that I referenced a source of ABC news article that you had an OnlyFans account and were raising money for a veterans' mental health charity.
Yeah.
Is that all correct?
There was a lot more said there, Margot. I mean, for instance, how did you just came across that one article and that was the basis for that conversation?
Well, I saw you in the paper on Thursday, I apologise, Heston, and I went, oh, who's this guy? He's got a new party out. I Googled your name and that was the first article that came up.
I know, and that's my issue at the moment. There's so much reporting. Like you and the media have such a huge opportunity and responsibility. And, you know, that's a skin-deep assessment. You're on there. I'm fine with people talking about my looks and whatever, but you didn't even do enough assessment to realise that I'm actually openly gay. And you're there talking about,
well, I did, but I didn't want to talk about your sexuality on air without your permission or bring attention to it. But I never mentioned your sexuality as such and that you are openly gay.
Margot, you said, look out, ladies, this one's attractive. Is he the next bachelor? Those sort of comments. So if you're not referring to me being gay, then you're referring to me being heterosexual.
I don't know how to answer that one.
Well, I was commenting on your physical appearance, not your preference of sexuality. I apologise if you took that as an ill intent. That wasn't my intention. We are here to make light of entertainment and news. We are a comedy-based satire sort of show. And obviously you didn't understand the tone in which we spoke about you originally, but we've given you the opportunity to come on and we are open to hearing what it is that you have to tell us about your party.
Well, I'm just more so open for the opportunity to actually hear and acknowledge that what you have said has been probably some of the most insulting comments that I've heard, particularly in that relation to Putin, and I'd love to hear your response to that.
It had nothing to do with a political stance. It was just purely like we would speak maybe of Tony Abbott in a pair of budgie smugglers, you know, like we always try and find the light and have a bit of fun. It had absolutely nothing to do with your political views, absolutely nothing to do with obviously the situation that's happening in Russia and Ukraine at the moment, which is very serious. It was merely supposed to be a little bit of fun and light-hearted, and the reference was purely only about being shirtless.
Okay, well, fair enough. I'm happy to come on here and have these conversations with you to clear it up.
Yeah, sure.
There's a lot. Well, look, you've made the direct reference to me raising a political party in the context of OnlyFans, Putin, everything else in between. My OnlyFans account was in 2020. And look, I've been on Triple M a number of times, Triple M Gold Coast. They've had me on there talking about veterans' mental health. I suffer from my own mental health issues transitioning from the military, of which I served 16 years. And I culminated with my own suicide ideation in 2020. And since then, I've done everything from speaking out to try and make sure we kept the unit citations from those who were going to lose them post the Burton report. I campaigned for the Royal Commission into Defence and Veteran Suicide. I've set up my own charity supporting over 400 veterans who have experienced or contemplated suicide, through to being down in Lismore 2 weeks ago, getting funding for those on the ground who are out there rescuing people. You know, I had no intentions of entering into politics, and every single person who said, you know, don't do it because this is what you get exposed to, it cuts at a deeper level for me as we'll launch this party. We're about to launch 10 amazing candidates who are the people who should be in politics. There are a bunch of veterans, a nurse, first responder, small business owners in there from here in our local area. And I grew up here in Brisbane my whole life. And when I hear people go on there and the first time the Australian Values Party is mentioned, it's mentioned in relation to as if I still have an OnlyFans account, which would be an incredibly poor judgment decision raising a political party.
Yeah.
2020, March, April, May, just when COVID hit. I was working for a veterans mental health charity called Swiss 8, and we fell on some pretty hard times when our primary sponsor and everything pulled their funding. So I've always had a bit of a profile on social media, including all the fantastic DMs you can imagine you get on Instagram these days. So I decided to convert that into an OnlyFans account, which, as you know, it's got like the Instagram wall that's the public sort of faced posts. And that was funny, jovial pictures and videos of me with my sausage dog, Copper, being a bit of an Aussie larrikinism there.
Right.
But then over the course of the next month, I kept getting requests privately for pictures, of which I sent some to people. And I've sent plenty of naked pictures and videos to people during my single pre-politics ever contemplating times. And then there's actually literally a criminal investigation currently into the ABC as to how those pictures were acquired by them and published because they were private. I need to either put my money into campaigning to make a real change or into a bunch of lawyers to afford all the defamation litigations, combined with allegations of me keeping money from fundraising, where I've fundraised hundreds of thousands of dollars for veterans organisations. And I'd ask you to realise that in doing many of those things I've just spoken about, unfortunately, some people in this world of toxic competition and comparison are going to come out and attack you. And Elements have done that. And I've gone to my social media and I've replied to those many, many times. And just when that's trivialized into just, 2 or 3 minutes of comedy, you can come at me as much as you want. But when you're looking to undermine this new independent party that really is here to achieve a big difference, that's when I have to stand up and that's when I have to show my values and ask you to be accountable.
Mate, I didn't know any of that background story, and thank you for putting us right.
No, that's all right. I'm here in Brizzy, so let me know anytime. I'm happy to come down and
Good
have
on
a
you.
chat. I'm going to be touring around Queensland in a bus the month of April, putting my money to spend there, and hopefully we can do this at the top level as opposed to down in the muck where everyone else wants to drag it.
Our ill-conceived attempts at comedy, we're sorry about that, but we were sort of chasing that ABC story, and we're really sorry, mate. We'd love to give you support in the future.
I appreciate it. Hey, thank you both for having this conversation.
No,
Hey,
thank
it's
you,
real,
Heston.
mate. Thanks, Heston.
Yeah.
Authorised by Heston Russell, Australian Values Party, Brisbane.